What's up, Pulse Wave Harpooners? I'm Lupine Fiasco, this is Daily Dash Gameplay, and I'm back with a Dash.io game. For anyone who is new to the channel, welcome to the Industrial Revolution. What we do here is review replays of games that I played on the Talishar client days or weeks ago, after enough time has passed that I lose my bias and can more objectively judge the quality of my play. I will talk through turn cycles and give my thoughts on the line I would take now, then compare that to the line I did take at the time of recording. We either learn from my mistakes or reinforce good play patterns with the overall goal of tightening and optimizing our gameplay in the future to take down paper events like ProQuests or Road to Nationals, and most importantly, walk away with that shiny, shiny cardboard. If you would like to follow along with this deck list or try it for yourself on Talishar, the FaB deck link is available in the video description below. While you're down there, if you have not already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. A YouTube subscription is the best free way to support me and to make sure that you see daily Dash gameplay in your video feed 5 days a week. If you want to go above and beyond, the best paid way to support me is through Patreon, and a Patreon link is also in the video description. A Patreon subscription will get you access to the daily FaB gameplay Discord. Your name will be featured in every daily Dash gameplay video. You could get bonus content every week, and there is even more great benefits to come. Daily Dash gameplay will always be free 5 days a week, so for those who can't afford to patronize me, I truly appreciate it. Let's talk about our sideboard and our game plan. We have lost the die roll, and we will be going second in this matchup. I believe that is what we would want to do anyway. Dash.io is a weird one because how they board generally comes down to whether they win or lose the die roll. If they go first, they might board in more items in order to high roll us by getting an item or even two out on turn one, loading up the gun, and getting their snowball rolling from there. Whereas if we put them second, they board out items, they put more 3 blocks into the deck, and our chance at rolling them turn one by catching them with non-blocks goes down quite a bit. I think that as an aggro deck, we want to go second in this matchup when we have the choice, as it will allow us to push the first piece of meaningful damage on their life total, where they will either take damage or have to give us cards from hand that they won't redraw at the end of our turn. But overall, Dash.io is always unclear to me as far as whether I want to go first or second. That said, we are going second. We are not going to change our list at all. This list is geared towards the aggro mirror, which Dash.io is. We will be starting with Chamber. I believe this is correct. These games, while they aren't long, they certainly aren't short. We will be able to get value out of our Chamber over a number of turns by converting our extra blues into 4 damage with the pistol and the Chamber. Starting with Powder is nice, but it does wear out. Dash.io has a number of items in the deck, but also has 3 blocks, so she could certainly put us in a position where we are running low on cards and are possibly getting fatigued. I don't think it's possible from Dash.io, but it is possible. I don't think she will, but she could, and that's something to respect with our Induction Chamber. Induction Chamber also sits on the board where we may need to use it to galvanize our adaptive plating to prevent lethal damage. Overall, we are on the boosty boost plan. We are spending our resources as optimally and efficiently as we can to push the most damage that we can in a turn cycle. We'll use our cards for defense if we need to. Whatever gets the biggest number out of our 4 or 5 card hand, that is what we are going to do. So we can jump into the game and see how it all comes together. We will start with our Chamber, put our adaptive plating into the arm slot. We will block this throttle with our 2 blues. I am interested in keeping this maximum velocity for the arsenal. I'm interested in keeping this 0 to 60 to hit my opponent in the face. I would sacrifice both of these cards on turn 1 if necessary to present damage, but I am perfectly happy to keep them if I can. With this hand, it's a little junky with these 2 blues. What I may want to do here is pitch one of my blues to load pistol, load chamber, shoot pistol, use chamber, then use my remaining resource and the other blue to load the pistol and the chamber a second time. We 0 to 60 boost, then shoot the pistol again, then arsenal our maximum velocity. We push 8 damage this turn. We put a max V into the arsenal and our chamber is loaded just in case we need it. What I believe I'm going to do on this turn instead is play and boost the data link. It isn't the worst idea. The data link on hit can be potentially relevant, as we can keep a 0 cost boost or blue on top of our deck. We could bottom something like a red throttle that we may feel is too expensive to use to set up maximum velocity. But for the most part, I think this is slightly suboptimal. It gives us 1 more point of damage, but we don't have a counter for our chamber. And I think blue data link just isn't a very good card. Apparently catching our Dash IO with an awkward hand where she can't utilize it on offense or defense very well. That's fine with me. With this hand, we could max V if we wanted to. We could T-bone, 0 to 60, pitch spark for Foundry Heart, put a counter on the pistol, then shoot max V. I don't like that. I would like to play this spark rather than pitch it. So what I would like to do with this hand, there are a number of things. We could T-bone, hit 0 to 60 for pistol chamber, shoot pistol, use chamber, load pistol, play 0 to 60 for a Techlocore. We could also T-bone, pitch 0 to 60 to Foundry Heart, play spark for X equals 2, and find our Techlo Pounder. The question is, how greedy do we want to get? Core basically guarantees that we can play max V on our next turn. Pounder gets us 6 more damage over the course of 3 turns, and still we will have 4 cards that potentially let us max V. Without knowing the limits of Dash, I kind of want to get greedy and grab a Pounder, but I can certainly understand why that is the wrong call. Let's just push 8 damage this turn, leave a counter on our pistol, and spark for core to make sure that we are able to max V on our next turn. Now, of course, we banish our Pounder with the T-bone, so that kind of answers that question. With only 1 Pounder in our deck, we do not have the ability to spark for Pounder anymore. I am making a greedy play, though. We are going to play spark to get our Techlocore, which is kind of cool for us. So what this is going to allow us to do is now T-bone, zipper hit, use Foundry Heart to put a counter on pistol, then max V. So definitely a greedy play there, but it does let us utilize the card that we draw off of spark, which we wouldn't be able to do without using our boots, and we're going to get to max V this turn. I think this may be a situation where I would like to load the pistol first to keep my Dash opponent off base as far as what I might be doing with the rest of my turn. It's sort of like Bravo and Pummel. If they have 2 resources available and apparently nothing else they can do aside from have a card in their hand, you're pretty sure they're going to pummel you. Here, it's pretty obvious that I am going to max V. Now, of course, the difference being that max V is not really something you can interact with aside from blocking it. there's no reason to block leading up to the max V if you're sure that it's coming. So we push a lot of damage. We have a Teklo core available for our next turn, which is looking to be very spicy, and most likely we're just taking all of this damage. With 5 resources available between core and zipper hit, we will play our high octane. We draw into literally anything that boosts, and we can play zipper hit, the new card, big shot, and likely shoot our pistol at the end of the turn. Drawing into a twin drive is almost cool with zipper hit, big shot, and high octane. Unfortunately, between the 5 resources that we have available, between our floating, our blue, and our foundry heart, we cannot do all of it. But what we can do is twin drive, double boost, big shot for 8, then use our extra action point to shoot the pistol, and finally arsenal a zipper hit, which is still a very strong turn. There is certainly nothing wrong with this. Our dash IO is going to block 7, keep 1 card in hand, which will very likely go into her arsenal, and we set up for what will hopefully be a strong follow-up to 2 very strong turns, and we can see that's pretty much what we're looking at here. Core pops, we have a zipper hit in arsenal, a throttle, and a big shot in hand. We also have a T-bone, so there are a few ways we can play out this turn. Between our 5 resources from 2 floating, a yellow, and foundry heart, if we wanted to play zipper hit, throttle, big shot, we would have 7 resources, 2 floating, 2 yellows, and foundry heart. That would let us zipper hit for 1 go again, throttle for 6 go again, big shot for 8, and keep a counter on our pistol. The other line we have available to us is zipper hit, T-bone, big shot. We have 5 resources available between 2 floating, 1 yellow, and foundry heart. So that line would look like T-bone, zipper hit, foundry heart to get an additional resource, put a counter on gun, big shot for 8, arsenal, throttle. We are either pushing 19 damage with no arsenal or 15 damage with an arsenal. And with dash at 11, I'm more interested in pushing more damage. I would like to take the 19 damage line, have no arsenal, but force dash to block with 3 cards from hand to not be dead, and also put her low enough that we are likely to kill her on our next turn. I want to put dash so low that she does not get the chance to set up big turns with Toma Fiendal from Arsenal or any sort of spark shenanigans, because she just doesn't have the cards available to do it. Big shot for 8 is going to take 2 cards out of Dash's hand. It will put her to 1. And we are just going to ship it back to her. We draw a good enough hand that we can close out this game. High octane plus blue throttle might have been enough to do it. The Toma Fiendal here gaining 2 life changes the math quite a bit, and we are much happier that we put Dash down to 2 cards rather than leaving her with 3 or even 4. We need to block this T-bone, and Dash is going to do some Spark of Genius nonsense. Backup Protocol Red, cranking, giving Dash an extra action point, which is going to let her pick up and play a heist. I would have liked to see Goliath Gauntlet used here from Dash. She is very quickly running out of time to do so, but a small play mistake is not really going to change how we address this heist. Checking Dash's Banish Zone, there is a backup protocol red. But of course, Heist lets you take an item from any Banish Zone, and our Banish Zone has 2 Teklo cores and a Pounder in it. So we absolutely cannot let this Heist hit. We also want to keep all of the cards in our hand, so we will just use our Crown and our Adaptive Plating Galvanized to block this 5. Do we want to use the Crown effect? I believe the answer is yes. I would like to sink one of these 0-cost boost blues in my hand. Let's keep the Throttle as it does relevant damage, but really looking for a red here. I choose not to. I believe just trying to play a bit safer and keeping some blues to pay for High Octane, but we already have 2 blues. We could just try to find a red 0 to 60 or a T-Bone instead, something that is going to take cards out of Dash's hand and also let us get the same amount of pistol shots on our turn. So we have our 3 blues in hand. We have so many resources. We have our Foundry Heart available. We need to push 5 attacks on this turn if possible. We have our Throttle for 4 Go Again is going to get a card out of Dash's hand and put her to 2. We will have 2 action points available without our Chamber. We then play another boost attack that will let us fire off the pistol a number of times. So we may not win this turn, but certainly this is not the way to win a game. We should be attacking with Throttle here, absolutely. I'm not 100% sure why we aren't. We can get a card out of Dash's hand. We can then Foundry Heart to get up to 3 resources, then play our Throttle. That may be what I'm looking to do here. Get another card out of Dash's hand, then Foundry Heart and play the Throttle. I think I've butchered this turn somehow. It's going to be enough. At this point, we are looking to arsenal this Throttle, set up a 5-card hand. Dash IO is going to give us the good game and just take this, apparently having an item in hand. I would have to really spend time with this High Octane turn again. Somehow I ruined this. This had the potential to be an easy lethal, and somehow I barely scraped by, but we do get there nonetheless. I wanted to show this game as a follow-up to yesterday's FaB game, as I think this was sort of the reverse of yesterday's, where I felt like I did not draw very well and our opponent drew very well, where here we drew very well and it looked like our opponent didn't. It's kind of 2 opposite outcomes of the same aggro mirror. My more experienced Dash players, let me know if that was your impression of this as well. It seemed like I did draw very well, and it would have been difficult to lose a game based on the cards that I drew, but maybe you can tell me that I am in fact a strategic genius who piloted the most difficult matchup and came out victorious. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed this game. If you did, zipper hit that like button. My comments are always open for any questions or feedback, and I will be back tomorrow with more daily Dash gameplay. Take care.